Hello there and welcome to Let's Talk Wakfu with your host Shiraf, and this is for the 5th of May 2012. And yeah, we've had the content update. We've had a lot of things changed, some good, some bad, and just reflecting on the past videos, I think they could be making a difference. I'm not too sure, it could be just all coincidence, but if you remember my rant in the last video about the changes in the Maka rings and such, well, yeah, they've done a U-turn and they haven't been changed. Now, I don't mind them changing the Maka rings if they feel it's in the best interest of the game, but they do need to take the proper procedures over it, which could have been too much effort. That's of course refunding people who bought the rings and giving them the option to transfer XP into a different Maka item. If they did that, then yeah, they can change them all they like, because players aren't effectively losing much unless they've got certain builds around them, like with those very powerful reflect rings. But you might have seen the nerfs to some of the other items, like the Simli's wedding ring and some of the AP amulets. Ouch! The Dragolai, the Celestial Brooch. A friend of mine sold his Dragolai before the patch, and I think he's glad he did, because it is harsh. The Simli's wedding ring is not as uber as it once was. It's interesting. It basically means, yeah, you have to rely on those Maka items if you want to have full wisdom. So, speaking of Maka items, that actually makes a problem for me, because yeah, you might know that leveling Maka items can take a while, especially if it's a two-handed weapon, such as the sword, the two-handed greatsword, which is for the earth. And yeah, it takes only 50% of the XP that other Maka items should, and they said it's for balance. I don't think that is too right, because let's face it, you can have a one-handed, like the Maka wand, and level that, no problem, and then you can stick something else in your other slot. You can have like if you're in any, you can have the Feti daggers at the moment, which is quite nice. You get a 15% bonus to your heals, or just stick a shield on. I don't see what the big problem is, because the differences between Makas aren't that apparent. People want them for the AP. Everything else is a bit of fluff, really. Yes, I am making a rogue at the moment, and I think I'll be going for the Maka bow, even though he'll be sticking as an earth rogue, and it's a fire bow. He'll be using it purely for the AP, the range, and the mechanics. So, it makes sense to try and be fire, but it's such a harsh thing on your Wakfu points, it really is. Regardless, you can build around it, so you could actually change your sets around and be both. There's lots of things you can do with that. Well, some of the footage in the background you're seeing is me messing around with my new rogue, and it's not powerful. He's just unlocked everything and playing around with the moves. I'm personally going for an earth rogue build, and I think, yeah, it is pretty weak at the start, but I think it's going to be something very, very nice, particularly around piercing shots and fighting monsters with high resist. So we'll have to see if that pans out, but looking at some air rogues and some of the damage they're doing already, oh, that is very nice. Some critical builds for air rogues are going to be very powerful indeed. One issue I actually wanted to press upon last time, which I forgot about really, was talking about why haven't we got a test server. There are bugs from every single patch, things mess up, and people's builds also mess up. Why can't you have a test server? It's really such a good idea, and it's just not implemented. Because, yeah, if you're a subscriber, you get access to the test server. It has different mechanics, so you could level up really quickly if you wanted to, test certain things out. There can be periodic wipes. It just makes sense to put a patch in on the test server before the official patch arrives. You can see what the problems are, and then you can fix them before implementing it into the main game. It makes sense, so why haven't we got one? Ooh, hell knows, really. So let's stop complaining and talk about some positive changes, actually. Well, every class kind of had a slight change apart from, I believe, IOPS and Pandas. And some are good, some are bad. I haven't really delved into it too much, but I'm not going to go into the whole balance issue, because you know things still aren't balanced. Regardless, one change I heard with the Nun Dungeon on the Monk Island now requires 300 seeds of a certain, I think monks probably, to be used to open the gate, and if that's all you need, then that is a kind of a nice way to open up the dungeon for everybody, because you do still have to put the effort in. You have to have a high enough trapper, gather the seeds, sacrifice 300 seeds, and you get access to the dungeon. It's kind of nice. It's a different way to not being able to have keys, and I think it's a good change, because those people after those air sets and things like the Nun Hat will be very, very happy about that indeed. I also really like that you can now transfer items, full set of items, equipment, into one merged item slot, and that is very helpful, because we know that space is a big issue in this game. Yeah, later down the line you can get some 30 slot bags and that helps out immensely, but when you're starting off in the game you're running out of item space so fast, so that is a little bit of help. That is very nice. And a zap in Astrub is also very helpful, because it puts a few more higher level players into that area very quickly without having to run back. I think that was a very good idea, so again, thank you for that. Well, now that wisdom and prospecting have been removed, I don't think there are too many issues about having a lot of stat resets, purely because people are still experimenting with their builds. Things are changing all the time. I fully support the idea of having NPC, for example. It depends how hard it should be, that's up to the devs, but being able to change your stats periodically, especially with so much content planned for Wakfu and so many things always changing, I fully support. It doesn't have to be in there for a long time, but I feel in this climate it's such an unforgiving game. People can just click one thing and their character is messed up, and yeah, now that stats can't be abused via wisdom or prospecting, I fully support this idea. So please think about having a more serious way of being able to reset your stats more often, until this game has a lot more substance and can stand on its feet. Yes, because there have been a few posts about people quitting, finding the game getting stagnant. I suppose having the level cap in doesn't help those players that are addicted to the game and have got 105 straight away. But there's got to be some limits to what things can do, because you could have level 200 characters running around and you still haven't got any content for them, so it does seem silly in some ways. But for that, give them a chance to experiment with builds, either get a test server in or put a stat reset NPC in, or both, until the game has more substance, and that will keep quite a few people happy, especially because it can no longer be abused. Oh, now here's another slightly dodgy issue. You've seen the guild updates, and you can now level your guild, and there's a bit of a race on that at the moment, but the whole guild insignia thing. Now, if you don't know what a guild insignia is, once you get your guild up to level 2, you can wear an insignia, and at the start it only gives 5 extra wisdom, but hold on, yeah, you're getting stat points from an insignia item. Now, some people love this, other people are finding it horrendous, purely because they feel their other insignias, like the ninja outfit, the Valkyrie set, etc., are pretty much wasted because they're sacrificing stat points. As your guild levels up, you get other bonuses to your insignia, and they're not that great, but they can be substantial. They can help out in little bits, and I understand why some people are getting angry about that. Personally, I feel putting in insignia items now give stat points is a pretty bad move. Yep, I know what you're saying, there's already the soldier and the guard outfits, but those are specifically built for certain things. You see somebody in a guard outfit, you know that they're going to get 20% bonus if you're a bandit, and likewise for the soldier attacking clan members. Having pure stats like that, I don't think they should remove them. I think you should be rewarded for leveling up your guild, especially because we don't have things like collectors, as from Doofus. So I'm saying it again, Balfus. But yeah, why can't those bonuses be on your character automatically? If you're in the guild, you get those bonuses. It certainly helps out for a lot of newbie guilds as well. I suppose it's not that bad, because let's face it, if you want to have the bonus, you have to wear your guild cloak and you can see where you're from and people can see what items you're in. And if you don't want that bonus, where you can hide what you've got with other items, insignias and such. I feel the system could be refined, but I don't really see it a big problem just having those bonuses on that character for what guild you're in. Really do. well, I'm going to be leaving it there. I apologise if you found this video more boring than usual. I've had very limited time this week, so I'll try and improve everything. I'm going to leave you with one suggestion I've seen on the forums, and that's from Arthropoda, and it's a simple idea, simply having a ready button. Now, if you remember in Dalphus, you could effectively slap your character, and people use that quite a lot to say you're ready to start the fight. Well, Arthropoda's put the idea of actually having a ready button that changes the party icon, and I think that is an utterly brilliant idea. When you're in a party, you've got these big nasty yellow markers over your head, and yet it helps you distinguish who your party members are. So why can't you actually utilize that to signify when a person's ready or not, rather than having to keep shouting, is everyone ready? Yep, yep, I, etc. Just one click of a button, everyone's ready. You can see on the colours. I think it's brilliant, and it should be implemented as soon as possible. So devs, definitely get onto this, because this would improve gameplay immensely. Alright, I'm going to leave things there, so thank you very much for listening. Once again, just leave any feedback, improvements, suggestions, send me emails of any topics you want talked about, and I'll try and improve everything, and I'll be seeing you next time.